Hello, my name is Stephen O'Malley and I'm a founding director at Civic Engineers. The role of the engineer has evolved substantially in recent years, particularly when we think about things like sustainable energy generation, wind turbines and so on. However, there are other aspects of the role that engineers play that hasn't evolved sufficiently well, particularly when you think about the role of engineers in our urban centres and the design of urban infrastructure in particular. The climate's obviously a really vital one. We've seen an increase in the amount of extreme weather events or storms. We had 3 of them in a row in the UK in recent months, and our infrastructure needs to be far more versatile and adaptable to deal with those extreme events. Well, the E is clearly vital in this conversation, but the S relates to social value, and that's really important when it comes to more compact neighbourhoods, creating greater opportunities for disadvantaged neighbourhoods and communities to have access to a greater number of green jobs and learning. And then the G when it comes to governance and government policy. And in Manchester, that's a really relevant current example where you've got Andy Burnham fundamentally reordering the regulation of the buses and making it much more affordable for people to use public transport. Civic Engineers is putting its ESG principles into practice in many projects, not least of which is Mayfield Depot in Manchester. In that instance, we're working on a 6.5 acre park, the first new park in Manchester for a substantial amount of time, daylighting the River Medlock and making it much more resilient in its ability to be able to deal with extreme weather events, and making it much more attractive for the purposes of biodiversity and amenity. Engineers are serial collaborators, being involved in the delivery of some very complex projects. However, there's a need to double down on those characteristics, particularly when it comes to engaging with the communities and the neighbourhoods and the politicians in which those projects take place, bringing them into the process and making sure that their needs are properly embedded in the process. Engineers need to bring their technical A game into these conversations, but they need to do that with a high degree of emotional intelligence.